Welcome to StartupHakk. I'm Spencer Thomason, and here at StartupHakk, we love to train software developers and build custom software solutions. So I do a lot of work as a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and a solid 25 years in software development, I've mastered the art of transforming technology teams and products into transferring technology teams and products. Wow, tongue twister this morning. So today we're diving into the wisdom of Peter Thiel. So he's part of the original PayPal Mafia. So get ready, because these 10 quotes are going to make you really rethink everything. And I know it's a Friday, so I don't want to make you think too hard, but it'll be good for you. We'll get your mind started on Friday. Let's dive in. All right, now I know some of you guys listen to this on Saturday, and then hopefully it doesn't kill you to listen to it over the weekend either. Get that brain moving even on a weekend. Sorry, I adjusted my mic here. But, I really like Peter Thiel. I think he's an interesting character. Whether you agree with him, whether you disagree with him, a lot of the PayPal Mafia is very polarizing. Obviously, Elon Musk being kind of the key figure there in the polarization. But I think that there's some great quotes. And I think pretty much every single book list that I have ever seen in my entire life has 0 to 1 on it, right? And that's obviously Peter Thiel's book. A lot of really thought-provoking things, and a lot of these quotes are out of 0 to 1. But I really like a lot of Peter Thiel's thinking, and I think whether you agree or disagree with everything, I'm a firm believer that whether you disagree or agree with everything somebody says, you can learn from everybody. And so I'm a firm believer in that. And obviously, look at a guy like Peter Thiel. He's had a lot of success in his life. He's got a lot of stories to tell. And so, let's dive in a little bit and talk a little bit about some of the things that he talked about. And let me get a picture up here on the screen really fast, so that it's kind of a funny thing. I was making the thumbnail for this, and I'm like, I bet a lot of people don't even really know what Peter Thiel looks like. Lots of different images out there, so this is the one on his own website, or this is Forbes. I guess this is Forbes' profile. I don't know if he approves these or not, but so this is Peter Thiel. So Peter was originally the co-founder of PayPal, and he remains a general partner of venture capital firm Founder Fund, where he's involved in firm strategy and weighs in on large investments. Among its investments are Stripe and SpaceX, just some small bets, right? Two of the most valuable unicorns in the world. He also co-founded CIA-backed big data startup Palantir, which went public via direct listing in 2020. Thiel is the first investor in Facebook, and has sold most of his stake in the social network. He left the board in 2022. His Thiel Foundation gives a small number of young entrepreneurs $100,000 over 2 years to skip college and build their own companies. I think that's a fascinating thing here. He's definitely kind of trying to push some of the norm by getting entrepreneurs to skip college. So it's kind of an interesting thought. Thiel moved to Los Angeles from San Francisco in early 2018 after calling Silicon Valley a one-party state. Interesting. Well, definitely he's more conservative leaning politically, so this is kind of a track of his wealth history. As with a lot of folks, his wealth kind of exploded. I mean, not that 2.3 billion is like really, I'm sure he wasn't hurting for much here, right? But obviously now his worth has jumped up to 7.5 billion. So that's kind of who Peter Thiel is. So as we're talking about, Peter, hopefully this will kind of help give you a little bit of background to who he is. Originally, a lot of this came from some of his time in the PayPal Mafia, but he's moved more into investing now as more of an investor. So anyways, without further ado, let's dive into these 10 things here. So first quote, Peter Thiel once said, "What important truth do very few people agree with you on?" So why don't you think about that for a minute? What important truth do very few people agree with you on? I know for me, I'll say a lot of times, I hate Scrum. A lot of people kind of raise their eyebrows. They're like, you can't hate Scrum if you're a developer. But anyways, this quote challenges us to think differently, pursue unique opportunities. In software development, it's essential to question the status quo and explore unconventional ideas. So a lot of times in conversations with my developers, I'll be like, okay, dumb idea. And I love throwing out dumb ideas, because a lot of times dumb ideas are just like, let's break whatever mold of thinking we're thinking in and see what we can change to get some innovation flowing here. So in software development, it's essential to question the status quo, explore unconventional ideas. Just because everyone's using a particular technology or doing it a certain way doesn't mean it's always the best option for what you're trying to do. I see way too many developers who are like, I got a hammer, therefore everything is a nail, and sometimes we need a saw, right? So sometimes the most groundbreaking innovations come from challenging widely accepted beliefs. As developers and entrepreneurs, we must embrace our unique perspectives. A lot of people ask me, what the heck, why do you call it StartupHakk? And why do you spell it funny? The spell it funny may be a questionable marketing thing, but the StartupHakk came from because I believe every startup is really about just hacking. And by hacking, I don't mean like the guy sitting in the dark, hacking the web. I mean just hacking at life, trying to figure it out. Get in, dig in, roll up your sleeves, try 10 different things. Part of the reason I like Kanban over Scrum is because Scrum is prescribed, it's predictable, it's exact. That's not innovation. There's nothing exact or prescribed about innovation. If you're trying to be innovative, you're going to have to try a couple different things sometimes. So I always try to make sure that as part of that, there's kind of two pieces. One, I always make sure that I really try not to have developers work in a silo. I think working in a silo as a developer is really dangerous because I think you can get stuck in what you know, and somebody else can just say one thing and you'll be like mind blown, right? And it just will totally change your level of thinking. So what important truths do very few people agree with you on? Kind of a good thought. You can see I already rambled on into a whole thing about it. All right, next one. Power of focus. Thiel advises you should focus relentlessly on something you're good at doing, but before that, you must think hard about whether it will be valuable in the future, okay? So, a lot of people have questioned, Spencer, why in the heck are you building a YouTube channel? You're only getting 50, 100 views here and there. And I stopped and at many points I've been like, well, look, if I could get 100 people in a room to give a speech, man, I'd totally do that, right? And everyone's like, yeah, of course. And I'm like, look, I've gotten 10,000 views on this video here, right? And so, it's been an interesting thing. But for me, I've been trying to be relentless at building my YouTube channel. And again, I don't totally know exactly where it's going to go, but I think I really will find some value in the future. So this highlights the importance of focusing on skills and projects with long-term value. In the fast-paced world of tech, it's easy to get distracted with the latest trends and the shiny objects. However, true success comes from honing in on what you excel at and ensuring it aligns with future market needs. So remember, it's not just about working hard, it's about working smart. And I tell my developers this all the time. Look, if you can build a tool that you're going to reuse over and over again, do it, right? Be smart. And this is also the reason why I think developers should learn how to use AI. I think it's a very valuable tool to get rid of the mundane things that we just don't need to be thinking about or wasting time on, right? All right, next one, number 3. Value of monopoly. Thiel's quote, competition is for losers. And it might sound harsh, but it emphasizes the value of creating a unique market position. In software development, aiming for monopoly doesn't mean being greedy. It means offering something so unique that competitors can't easily replicate it. This could be a groundbreaking app or revolutionary service. Striving for this kind of uniqueness can set you apart in a crowded market. So aim to create products that dominate their niche. And I really say emphasize that dominate their niche. It's better to be loved by a few than liked by many. And I'm a firm believer in that, especially with startups. See way too many people who are like, but 1 million people use this. I'm like, good, go get 500 to use it first. All right, importance of long-term vision. So Thiel says, quote, long-term planning is often undervalued by our indefinite short-term world. So Thiel reminds us of the significance of having a long-term vision. In tech, it's easy to focus on immediate goals and short-term gains. I just got to get this out to ship this time. Okay, well, let's make sure we're thinking long-term, right? That short-term, especially in software, often causes us to create shortcuts. Shortcuts in software are bad. Thumbs down. Highly don't recommend. All right, having a clear vision, a clear long-term strategy ensures sustained growth and innovation. Think about where you want to be in 5 or 10 years, not just the next quarter. This forward-thinking approach can gain you decisions and keep you on the right path. I think for developers, especially, this is super true for your career, okay? Like I see a lot of developers who just take a job because it's paying the bills or it's really good pay or whatever, and then they get themselves stuck into some kind of a tech, or they get really, like they'll take a job. I have a developer that's a friend that was like, I was a former employee that I've kept in touch with. And by the way, I always keep in touch with former employees and employers. It's very smart. The networking's great. But anyways, he took a job, and it's mostly low code stuff. And he's like, man, my skills are like atrophying bad. And so that's where you got to sometimes look at the long approach. And I get it. You got to take a job, especially in this market. But like sometimes it's really tricky, and you want to make sure you stick with keeping a long-term vision, both for how you're building software as also as for your careers. All right, number 5, learning from failure. Every business is, quote, let's try this again. Number 5, learn from failures. So Thiel says, quote, every great business is built around a secret that's hidden from the outside. So Thiel's insight here is about uncovering hidden opportunities and learning from failures. In software development, failures are inevitable, but there are also opportunities to learn and grow. Each setback brings valuable lessons that can lead to future success. Don't be afraid to fail. Let me repeat that. Don't be afraid to fail. Instead, embrace it as part of the journey. Remember, every failure gets you one step closer to finding the hidden secret to success. Now, I mean, obviously we don't want to fail every time, but I mean, like you learn from your failures and then we grow. Number 6, building a strong foundation. Quote, foundations are incredibly important. Thiel emphasizes the importance of building a strong foundation for any venture. In software development, this means having a solid code base, robust architecture, and clear documentation. Skipping the foundational work might save time initially, but it can lead to significant issues down the line. Invest time in building a strong foundation, and it will support your project's growth and scalability. Good foundations lead to stable and successful outcomes. I can't emphasize this enough. This is true also with your learning, because here at StartupHakk, we love to train software developers in our coding bootcamp. I also do tons of programming videos. I think I've just reached over 500 programming videos that are on my channel now, and we give away all those code samples for free. Every one of my programming videos have a coding sample with it, and so go download those. There's 500 free code samples out there. Go get them. But we also do train with tutors in our coding bootcamp, and we're really excited to get that off the ground this fall. Number 7, the role of technology. Technological process has merely provided us with more efficient means for going backwards. Thiel's provocative statement reminds us to use technology wisely. And in this day of AI, this is really true. In the tech industry, it's easy to get caught up in developing the next big thing without considering its impact. Technology should drive progress and improve lives, not create more problems. We're kind of seeing an interesting play of this with social media. Obviously, social media is huge. Connects the world. Best, advertising medium. Best way to get, everything in life has been changed by social media. And yet, we're looking at a lot of problems with our teenagers. We're looking at a lot of problems even with adults and comparison and all of these things and these outcomes that really we're finding the social media, and I use social media a lot too, so don't point fingers at anybody, but we're finding that it's causing a lot of really negative behaviors. And they're trying to figure out how to regulate it, and that gets into a whole big part of a problem. But as developers, we must ensure our work contributes positively to society. Always think about the broader implications of our technological advancements. I remember in the early days, and everybody's going to roll their eyes at this, but in the very early days, one of the core values at Google was do no evil. Suddenly that disappeared. But anyways, I think at least that should be in theory some of our overall goals to do no evil, right? Point 8, embrace contrarian thinking. So Thiel says, quote, brilliant thinking is rare, but courage is even shorter supply than genius. And I think, again, that sometimes it's very difficult when you're developing with a team or working against a manager or a enterprise architect and be like, hey, I think this may not work, or I see this, or if you see a problem in a system, as a management, you're like, hey, we got to ship. But then if you know that there's a problem and you have to delay shipping because there's a problem, that's where it takes some courage, right? So Thiel values contrarian thinking and the courage to act on it. In software development and entrepreneurship, being a contrarian can lead to unique solutions and innovations. Don't be afraid to go against the grain if you believe in your vision. It takes courage to challenge your popular opinions, but it can set you apart from the rest. Embrace your contrarian ideas and pursue them boldly. Here at StartupHakk, one of the things we're doing that's definitely a little different than most is we're building a 3-headed business. One is what you're watching right now, the YouTube channel, right? So that's one part of the business, which I love to get the word out on, and I just enjoy doing. I've learned a lot in the industry and as a developer, and so I like to bring some of that learning to you guys, hopefully something that's valuable. But then two, we do the software consulting. So we build useful software for people, right? So I have a lot of experience in building teams, architecting products, and bringing them to fruition. And I love doing that. So we're building out teams and helping companies meet their technology goals. And then three is the coding boot camps. We love to train new developers, and it will work really well for us because our YouTube channel can help get the word out on both of those two, the coding boot camps and the software consulting. But then it also can help me to train up the developers that I'm going to use on my consulting business. And so not only do I get to just cherry pick exactly the learning they're doing, because it's the stacks that we're going to be building on. And so, again, a lot of people are like, oh, there's no way you'll get a three-headed business to work. You really need to focus on one of those things. And I'm going for it. So it's my contrarian thinking for the day. Anyways, I'm excited about it. We'll see. And the company is continuing to grow. Number 9, focus on impact. So start small and grow big. Thiel's advice here is about focusing on impact projects. Even if you start small, in software development, many successful projects began as a small initiative. Facebook, one campus, right? Like this goes over and over again. PayPal did some work even once they're big on doing some lead methodology where they took a team of just 9 developers to go accomplish like one thing. So there's ways, even if you're in a big company or a big project, to be able to start small and grow big. If you have a new feature, start it small, grow it big. Very iterative, right? So this is lean. This is the lean principles and very agile, okay? Number 10, the importance of boldness, right? So, quote, doing what we already know how to do takes the world from 1 to N. Adding some, let me try this again, man. I'm having a hard time this morning. Doing what we already know how to do takes the world from 1 to N. Adding more of something familiar. And that's not necessarily bad. So I'm pausing mid-quote. That's not necessarily bad. Building a business from 1 to N type business is not a bad thing, right? And sometimes it can even be 0 to 1, maybe different in how you're combining the business, right? When we started Clean Router, we weren't the first filtering company, but we were one of the very first to take enterprise level filtering and scale it down into a router, this size that was small enough to go into a home, right? And so we took enterprise level filtering and scaled it down and made it easy enough for mom and dad to use. So there's kind of some interesting thing here. But back to Thiel's quote. But every time we create something new, we go from 0 to 1. Now, I'll argue at Clean Router that we built something new. We were the first one to really mass produce a router that filtered the internet for residential, for the home, and then making it easy enough for parents. So you could argue that's a 1 to N, or you could argue it's a 0 to 1. I'd love to hear your argument. Again, my favorite thing is when you guys leave comments down below. Do you think that's a 1 to N, or is that a 0 to 1, right? Like, did we create something new, or was that just yet another product out there among many? Now that market's really flooded and really crowded. So I guess you're looking at it now, and I remember when it wasn't there. So when I told one person about the business, that his response was, "Man, you could have a cardboard box with a wire coming in and out, tell people it's filtering the internet, and you'd still be able to sell them." Proved to be a lot more challenging of a market than that, unfortunately. Anyways, Thiel's principle of going from 0 to 1 emphasizes the importance of creating something entirely new. And again, we've talked a little about this. In tech, this means bold and innovative, not just improving existing solutions. Aim to create groundbreaking products that change the landscape. Boldness and innovation are the keys to making a lasting impact. Now, again, I think you can still do this with a product that's out there, and maybe there's a twist on it or a niche on it. I know I have a good friend who, a few years ago, who built a particular type of a SaaS software, which this type of SaaS software certainly wasn't new, but he took a niche that nobody was going after and went after that. So he was the 0 to 1 in that space. And sometimes that's an interesting play on it as well. And it can be bold too. But what are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I love having good, healthy discussion. So make sure to leave a comment down below and make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Here at StartupHakk, we love to train software developers in our coding boot camps and to build custom software solutions. So reach out and we'd love to help. Hit the links out down below and we will catch you guys next time. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel because we bring you lots of great tutorials and tips that every developer should know. See you next time.